Yo, we finally made it, bro. If you've been on this channel, you've been part of my streams, man. You know we've been streaming Undisputed for a couple of years now. We've been making content for Undisputed for a few years, bro. It's finally time. Uh, the game has finally arrived. I see a few people that have early copies of the console version. It's looking good. It's looking clean. It's looking sharp. I'm not gonna sit here and hold y'all, man. This could be groundbreaking, y'all. This could be the change of an era, the change of a guard, not just for games, but not just for boxing games, but just for games in general. Undisputed has the opportunity to use the current gen console technology and the PC technology to make something great. So, what do we want to see from Undisputed? First, you want to see that they fix the main problems that we had during early access. You want to see that they not just listen to the community, but implemented fixes for spammers, cheesers, that they've totally balanced the fatigue, the stamina, the damage. Obviously, they put a lot of work into making modifications to the punching. The explosion that you see in the punches, the punching animations. Hopefully, those are completely flushed. I know there were times where you're fighting with Roy Jones Jr. or you're fighting against Roy Jones Jr. and you see punches like totally whiff, like totally not complete, like incomplete punches. You have your phantom punches, your desync where the game is not synchronized online with your opponent, or maybe the server isn't in sync with the two users. No matter what it is, bro, those are things that have to be fixed and ready to go tomorrow. It's a lot of people who ordered the deluxe edition, tons of people who ordered the early access version of the game. So I expect a huge crowd on the servers immediately as soon as the game launches. I think at 11 a.m. right? As soon as the game launches, I'm expecting a huge crowd of people on the servers. So it's going to be interesting to see how they've configured the servers to handle this, how stable they are. Um, you know, Hopefully there's another way to invite your friends. Yo, I'm not. I swear to God, y'all, on console, we should not have lobby codes. There should be, like 2K implemented this social button a few years ago, I think a year ago actually, where you hit L1, R1, and it pulls up all your friends that are currently online. And from there, it's pretty much a user interface for, inviting friends or seeing friends' stats or, just checking out who's online or who's nearby. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that's what we're dealing with. But I'm really interested to see if there's any differences in career mode than there were in early access. They haven't said anything about it as of yet, and I've saw the preview of the console version of career mode. It looks the exact same, but hopefully there's some elements in there for the full launch that weren't in there during early access. If not, then we're going to be having to be very creative making content if that's all we get for career mode. Obviously, down the road, that's something that uh, they want to build upon, but gameplay, server infrastructure, multiplayer online, character creation has to come first. I get it. I get it. Get a game first and then build your career mode. I get it. Hopefully, we get fighters added to the game constantly. I think when it was in the maybe it was still in the ESBC phase. No, it was in the undisputed phase, but kind of early on before we got early access, they were kind of adding fighters quarterly, like kind of like every month, every other month, they'd add a fighter or two, maybe three. I want to see rollouts like that, especially leading up to the December undisputed update, which it probably would be the first fighter additions we'll probably get in December with that first update. But just looking forward to it. It's going to be an early, not an early access, but there's going to be a time period where, the season hasn't started yet, but we are going to have seasons. I'm not sure exactly what that entails as far as like rewards. Hopefully, they do something where like if you're fighting a lot, if you're on the game a lot, you get rewarded with some kind of XP. There needs to be some kind of reward for grinding this game because I know as somebody who put 1,600 hours into this game while it was in early access, 1,600 hours. You kind of get a sense like, okay, I'm going to be playing this game a lot because it's boxing, and I could and outcomes change. There's different outcomes that you can create. There's different outcomes. Just there's boxing, so you know what I mean. It's as long as you're interested, the game will be fun. But it just adds that sense of, okay, let me start a new career. Let me create a new fighter. Let me see what kind of path I can create with this fighter. Forget cutscenes and all that stuff. I get it, and cutscenes were something that originally I wanted, and I still do. But getting the framework for a good career mode starts with like the balance of having to decide. Uh, Yoga only prepares you for your fight by 10%. So if you do yoga, which is your head and your body health in early access, I don't know if they kept it the same, but I thought this was very strategic from a development or developer standpoint. Yoga is one of the cheapest things you can do as far as working out on the game. And it is tied to one of the most important things, attributes you can have on the game, which is head health, body health. Now, along the way in training camp, especially if you have a short training camp, I always go with longer training camps. As soon as they let me start having long training camps, I started having like long training camps because it's about getting better for me. If I can get better, I can skip some of these opponents. That's my mindset in this game during the early access period was if I can improve my fighter more drastically or exponentially, then I feel like, I can face opponents that I maybe not qualified to fight, or maybe on paper it looks like I'm not ready for them, but I can take them on because I've put in the work. But yoga only gives you 10% towards being fight shape. So if you're not doing long training camps, how are you going to improve your head and body health and still be in shape for the fight? You'd have to go with like sparring plus yoga. But I lean towards longer training camps so I can improve health and stamina. Like the first thing that I do when I make a fighter is I'm working on health, stamina, foot speed, and hand speed. I add power later, and I've done a few careers, and I can't help it, yo. I can't help it. I cannot improve my power first, and I'm determined that that's something I'm going to do on the console version. Is I'm gonna I'm gonna make a slugger that has power. I haven't done it yet. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I always make outboxers. I always make a boxer puncher for some reason. That's who I am myself. When I spar or I box, I don't do it competitively, but when I do, I'm a southpaw. I'm a 6'5", 6'6", rangy counter puncher, and that's what I keep ending up making. So the thing, I guess I say that to say this: the thing that I do appreciate about this game is that it almost, after you play a certain amount of hours, it encourages you to make a fighter that adheres to how you fight, not in real life per se, but more like on Undisputed. If you're a calculated, want to stay right outside of range type of fighter on here, you can do that. You can create that fighter. And if you're somebody who wants to fight on the inside and work your way in, you can do that. I'm thinking, I want to make a defensive stalwart. I want to make like a 90 agility, freaking 90 foot speed, 90 counter punch, 90 hand speed, like 90 guarding, 90 health. I think that's going to be one of my first projects on this game. We'll see, man. I really, really, guys, I really hope that, if not on launch, one day we can create our fighter, take him to the streets, and fight each other with our creative fighters. UFC found an okay way of doing this where you create your fighter and everybody starts off at a baseline rating to where nobody's more overpowered than the next, and then you're more focused on like your aesthetics and your style, what you're wearing, your customization can be more key in that, and then it's just skill based. It's just a matter of who hits the sticks better than the other person at that point, and who created a fighter that has more natural advantages, whereas somebody with longer arms can find their range easier and mainly have a more effective jab. The inside fighter might have more power and might be able to go to the body more effectively. I don't know, man. Let's see. I Steel City, I appreciate you, man. I've spent 1,600 hours streaming this game, told thousands of people about this game, had the opportunity to share it with a whole bunch of people in early access stage, and I'm excited to go live tomorrow night, knowing that boxing is back. Peace.